in the match of the day. Maybe it could be this other one. This is very certainly going to be the match of the day because it's our two top teams in North America for Pro League. It's in terms of points and two of the teams that have the most to prove, I think, overall. Where are we going to play, though, is the question. Let's find the answer.
Well, Cafe is still on the board. We did see it for match number 1, and we could end up going there. No, we're going to go to Clubhouse instead, as Cafe is taken out at the very final moment. And that's okay. Clubhouse is a fun matchup to watch. Both these teams are pretty practiced here on Clubhouse. It's a good map for Reciprocity as well, who've defeated some pretty impressive foes on it.
They lost to LG on Clubhouse, but they've got a mixed history because they beat Evil Geniuses in the first play day on Clubhouse.
That's also true.
So for Reciprocity, this is a mixed bag.
They have EG's, I would say their number, though.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
They always tend to beat Evil Geniuses. Now, do you think they'll beat DarkZero? That's really close. 48% of you think it'll be Rec, with 41% saying that it's going to be DZ, and then 11% of you say it'll be a draw. For the record, my vote would have been in the draw column.
Yeah, I mean, I could certainly throw one in for a draw here. Yeah, this is because I mean, it's DZ versus Reciprocity. These teams are so different from each other in terms of playstyle. Like, they're polar opposites. DarkZero being on the more strategic side, Reciprocity being more on the, we can win our gunfights, we'll take that as our mainstay sort of side. That's kind of like the baseline mentality. Of course, there's so much more depth to both teams than just those two things. But they're very different, and that's the point I'm trying to get to. Yet they're both, at the same time, sitting at the same spot with 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, and 13 points. Well, Thermite is going to be banned really early on here by DarkZero. It's going to be the Hard Breacher band of choice. Oh, no.
So we're going to go with one Hard Breacher. It's going to be Hibana only, and we've seen this before. This was a very fond memories of a Lestream versus Empire matchup last season. It was a very pivotal game, and Lestream ended up winning it over Empire. If I remember, it was 7-5. It went to the very final round, and because of this, it was a double hard breach ban. Lestream were prepared for it. Empire did not seem to be. The real question here is, who's going to be better prepped? Well, it was the Maverick ban coming out from Rec, so my guess is they're probably anticipating only going with Hibana.
Yeah, and on a baseline, I would say that Rec are going to be better at playing without as much hard destruction as you would want on Clubhouse because of their nature, really. But who knows? Maybe DarkZero will prove us all wrong. They are also DarkZero is one of those teams that puts a lot of prep work themselves into these matches. So, yeah, you can expect them to be prepared for this. It's all gone very rapid fire so far, and we'll go ahead and go to Cash CCTV for the first defense on DarkZero's side. DarkZero, I believe, have only played Clubhouse once through this season, and it was against SSG, and it actually ended up being a draw. In that match, there was not 2 Hard Destructor bans, but there was a Thermite ban. It was DarkZero's. So this is maybe a little bit of prediction work being done by Reciprocity, and SSG banned Thatcher. So very similar to the Maverick in how what they're going to be doing in terms of their overall effect. That's important to know because the Maverick was banned here, Thatcher will be available, which means that the Hibana is more likely to get walls open. However, Hibana Excaros are slower than the Exothermic charge, which means that they can very easily be not only Bandit tricked, but also Kaid Electroclaw tricked. So that is going to be a huge factor here, and it's why you see both a Bandit and a Kaid being picked by DarkZero, because yes, the Thatcher can get rid of those, but can he get rid of them fast enough for the Excaros to actually detonate?
It'll be really fun to watch. The other thing, too, with only having a singular Hard Breacher here is how do you attack that basement site? Often considered the most defendable, at least statistics-wise it tends to be. You're going to grab maybe 2 of those hatches, and then what? You can't really get the church wall, so where do you put the other Excaros? Well, you can possibly get all 3 hatches and then go from there. Additionally, a lot of times you bring 2 Hard Destructors so you can take these garage walls and then move on up to the CCTV wall. Some teams will even go for a construction wall if they have time to do so and enough tools at their disposal. But as you can see, well, they will struggle here for it because there's only a singular Hibana on the board for Reciprocity.
It looks like Reciprocity are going to open up the garage, and then they're going to try and deal with the Bandit tricking on the wall using the Capital maybe, or the Buck from below. Speaking of Capital, he will take down Nyx. So that's impact tricking on garage done with. 1xKaro's already used here. Hyper's going for a free kill downstairs, but actually it's going to be Mark to react well and do some damage to Hyper.
Surprised with how much of an emphasis DarkZero is putting off-site for the time being. You've already lost one. I know that you want to hold map control and all that, but maybe try to get back as quickly as you can. BC's got Retro down below, or Foxade down below, rather, watching to see where Retro is going to go, and there's a fire arrow with BC's name on it. This could be very challenging for him to get out of. He'll get flashed, but he's on his evil eye for the time being, and he's a dead man. There's no way he's getting out of there. Wreck just storming on in, though. Hot and Cold sends Foxade to bed and tucks him in before he's gone. Skies has Hyper, as Hyper's not able to get back towards the site, and there's only 2 members of DarkZero on site. I think that one, as Hot and Cold has now moved out to the rafters, he'll be getting pinged over and over again, and the frag grenade from Skies will miss. He can push up the stairs now at any point. Kaid onto the Thatcher of Laxing, cannot connect as much as he wants to, so now Hotten's up there, evading the frag grenade, waiting to see if anybody else will push him. There's a minute to go, and this is very difficult for DarkZero, and Reciprocity should be able to ride this one out and take the rest of the round, barring a complete and utter collapse.
Mark with some good use of the Captel fire or bolts there, not the fire ones, but the smokes, and Mint's going to shut him down with a nice, well-placed headshot, but he's got 3 more to find. Laxing will die to a single shot from that shotgun, but these other players are going to take 2. And Mint is already on lower than full HP, sitting around 60. Goes for an aggressive peek and gets shut down by Retro. Reciprocity will take the first round, attacking onto Cash, despite the lack of the hard destructing operators. Only having Retro, these small holes are just enough for him.
I'm not entirely... Was that a height joke about Retro?
What? No.
It sure sounded like one. How dare you?
No. No.
How dare you?
Hibana just makes really small holes comparatively. That's just...
Huh? I don't know why Mint pushed, by the way. You could have just held that angle.
It wasn't intentional.
Sure wasn't. I know you well enough.
He could have.
I don't know why Mint pushed, though.
Yeah, that's because there's no rotation.
I really don't know why Mint pushed. Yeah, he could have just sat at that doorway and waited very patiently, and you've got the walls opened up. You're going to have to likely crouch or, crawl your way in. There's a rotation from garage, but it's like that's all you have to hold. You could have just waited at the doorway. I don't know. I don't really know. But the bigger issue for DarkZero was that they lost that round within the first minute or so. You had Nyx engage when he didn't need to. You had Hyper down below, losing a ton of HP when he didn't need to. On the basement on a roam as a Valkyrie, DarkZero put a lot of bodies off site. I get why they were doing that, because they were anticipating that Rec would take quite a bit of time to try and find them all. But Rec, excellent droning. And were able to take that control away from DarkZero real fast, 2 quick kills, and then they just kept that ball rolling as they transitioned over towards the site. BC was the last line of defense until you actually got there, and that was all she wrote when he fell.
One big thing I really agree with you on is the excellent droning from DarkZero, from Team Reciprocity, and there was very little to hamper that droning. Where was the Mozzie? Why isn't he being brought to try and slow down the drones, especially on the roam, considering how extensive it was from DarkZero? It's a curious round, for sure. My standout in that last round was definitely Mark. He managed to get a kill downstairs. He did a lot of damage using his firebolt, as well as did some damage to Hyper when Hyper tried to get the refrag on the Valkyrie downstairs. But it just wasn't it wasn't enough. Mark had a really good one, and he's been doing well with the bolts as well. And that's not an easy thing to do. We often see, straight up, we will see Capitals come into matches and be completely useless in terms of their utility. And Mark is not one of those, so that's really awesome.
It's not even that. It's that they've also had Retro on Capitao, if I remember correctly. I can't recall if Foxade's ever played the Operator, and those are not stats that I have at my fingertips.
They move roles.
Reciprocity is very fluid with their roles.
Yeah.
They have a lot of different players who are very comfortable flexing onto different support-oriented roles, fragging oriented roles. And the other thing with Rec, too, is that they run a lot of operators that for a while were considered niche. Castle is an integral part of Reciprocity's strats. And they run Castle, I would say, more than any other team in North America. They run Capitao religiously on almost every single site, too.
Yeah. It is surprising that DarkZero didn't ban out the Capitao now that we're speaking about it. I mean, DarkZero, again, on Clubhouse, they ban Thermite. That's just what they do. But that becomes, again, it becomes pretty...
Oh.
Nice C4 there from Mint.
On the only hard breacher on the board.
It's rough.
This now gets very difficult.
Yeah, Reciprocity can win this, but it's going to have to be off the merit of their gunfights, straight up.
And I mean, you're going to be going into gunfights at a huge disadvantage. You cannot reshape the environment without Hibana being on the board. The best that you can hope for is maybe some soft destruction above, maybe the Zofia or the IQ, and ultimately, the Zofia is not even running breaching charges, so that gets very difficult. You only have the ability that comes in her lifeline. This is going to be mighty tough.
Laxing has taken control of blue, and there goes the Evil Eye in that location. Mark's going to get the first kill for his team as BC goes down. Reciprocity find themselves back in this. The biggest thing is that they have control of blue, because they can use that to crossfire any site, no matter where they want to attack. I mean, they could if they had a Hard Destructor. It won't be Arsenal, that's for sure, because the kitchen drop's not opened up, and the dirt tunnel also probably isn't opened up, which means it's more than likely going to be a church pinch through Moto and through blue. The Firebolt comes out. Player in a corner, not going to be eating any damage. Mint is going to take down Foxay. That was the push from the Moto drop. It's a good aggressive play from Mint, and he's also going to take out Mark. He's actually having a singular round here as Hot and Cold contributes, taking out Laxing, and there's the last one for Hotton as well. A really well put together defense for DarkZero, and well, the keys were there for Reciprocity. They just couldn't get them to. They couldn't use them correctly.
Yeah, the big deficit there was just that Hard Destructor too. You couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't open anything up. Once Retro was dead, that was it. And that's what happens when you find, you have 2 Hard Breachers banned. You put so much pressure on the shoulders of your Hard Breacher that if they die early, you're in a significant amount of trouble. This is not a map like Coastline, where you can conceivably make it happen without a Hard Breacher. Even we've seen Consulate rounds happen without Hard Breachers too in North America. It's not the case here at all. It's really difficult. And Retro, I don't know if he was taking an engagement. I don't know where he was when he got C4'd. But man, oh man, once that happened, the likelihood of Rec winning that round dropped to about 0. Every single member of Reciprocity just had to walk on into the site because they didn't even have enough soft destruction to open up the remaining walls. On a church defense downstairs, you usually have maybe 2 or 3 walls where there won't be a reinforcement in place. But it's a very difficult task to do. Now,
DarkZero did look good on their basement defense, but the cache defense wasn't fantastic. And it does come down to what you were talking about with that Hard Destructor, or the lack thereof. So when we go to Gym, Hard Destruction is highly relevant, that's for sure. One thing that's important to note is that Reciprocity needs to open up the server to deny server peek onto the south balcony. And it looks like it's being, it's got bandit batteries on there. So they're going to have to invest time and resources in opening this wall if they want to deny the south balcony presence from the server for DarkZero. Or they could go for something entirely different as they look to be opening up the construction wall right now. This is curious. 2 Excaros being used on the construction wall. Or, no, sorry, just 1. I thought I heard 2, 1 earlier. But maybe I did hear 2. I wonder how many Retro still has. Yeah, I did hear 2, so I wonder where that second one went then. Could have been, maybe, it wasn't on the drop. It wasn't. Curious. Well, maybe he missed. But the construction wall is opened up, and now there's only 1 Excaros left, which means the Jacuzzi wall is maybe going to be opened, but it won't be enough for a full rotation. It would be a prone hole at best, and it's still being bandit tricked. There is a castle to support that bandit tricking. One thing that's interesting to me is that there is no Jaeger being brought, which means that the grenades from Foxay have free reign.
Skies was playing the Buck earlier too, and he's gotten quite good with the grenades, so Rec have tools at their disposal, and they can take advantage of the fact that DarkZero have just been, I guess, limiting their utility usage here. A lot will rest on Nyx holding down construction, because once he goes, the Tide might just take over the rest of the site.
Well, that's some good drone work, again, being done by Reciprocity. They knew it was clear.
Foxay droned himself in, and he knew he had a perfect avenue to continue to take cash and then move from there and watch construction. So, because Foxay is
Did they not bring breaching charges?
They don't have any breaching charges.
2 claymores, no breaching. What the heck?
So, the logistics hatch, I don't know if they...
Foxay's there, though.
Now Foxay is here. So, Foxay will come over and say, let me do it, and we'll open it up. It only took about 5 magazines to get to that point.
That's a lot of ammunition. I would laugh if they lost this round because they didn't have enough ammunition, but I doubt that will happen.
Keep in mind, they've almost doubled the amount of ammo that everybody has about a year and a half ago, and since then, well...
You never have to worry about magazines.
That is correct. You're still really low, though. There's only 3 mags in total for Skies, and I think there was roughly about the same for Laxing, but there goes Construction. Nyx has fallen off. He's not going to take an engagement. There's only 20 seconds to go. Everybody is still alive, and where are you going to come from? Well, it's going to come down to straight gunfights. Tools and utility now, as BC's position is given away. He's going to catch one, look for 2. He has a 3rd lined up. Will he be able to get it? No, he gets pre-fired and swung on by Foxay, but Mint shuts it down, and DarkZero, by virtue of time, what a showing, will be able to take and hold this round.
Okay, so you don't need 2 claymores. Bring breaching on either on your Thatcher probably would be the sensible one, but you've got choices. Really, it could be the IQ as well. Yeah, if you're not gonna bring a buck and your Sledge has got other things he's got to do, then bring. Because Foxay had to work his way out of the building. He had taken control of Workshop. He had to go out of the building to get that drop down. If you were playing Buck, he might have been able to shoot it maybe from the Workshop to office wall and sort of area. Maybe. He also could have naded it, I guess. But no matter how you look at that situation, it was a lot of time wasted by Team Reciprocity because they couldn't open up a drop down because they didn't have the right tools.
They wasted a solid 20, 30 seconds up there.
Yeah.
That was not the best, timing-wise.
And apart from that, the take from Reciprocity was pretty decent. They managed to take control of server and cache rapidly. And that was thanks to opening up the construction wall. That was great. I have no idea what happened to the other set of Ixqueros. I heard Retro use 2. We checked. He did use 2. There was 1 prone hole on the construction wall. I have no clue what happened there. No idea what he could have shot. But no matter what it was, that is a nasty Valkyrie camera. Did you see that, Parker?
No.
It went into... I was
writing notes in my notebook.
It went into the wine cooler here, and it's hidden inside of there, and it's completely invisible.
Wine cooler?
That's
a fridge.
Okay, whatever.
It might be a beer fridge.
A beer fridge.
Or a wine...
All right, I'm done with that.
It's not a wine cooler.
It's hidden in there. Well, the other one downstairs is a wine cooler, and that's why I said it, okay?
Okay.
The one downstairs, can we check the one downstairs that's next to the Moto door? Yeah, right there. That one's a wine cooler. There's wine in there. Pretty sure. Or did they change it? No, yeah.
No, that's the same bottle of liquor.
Everyone, that call-it was wine cooler for so long that I just got stuck in my head, okay?
I could go for a wine cooler after that talk.
It just got stuck in my head because that was what everyone called it when on my team way back. Anyway.
Imagine trying to make that a call, like wine cooler?
There's a camera. We called it wine. There's a camera that's in the fridge, and it's really
next to the cheekiness of the one that gets thrown in the cage under the stairs. It's very common. Hyper's back down below. He's downstairs inside a church. Well, he was Arsenal technically. Now he's moving over towards church. He might get spotted out here. If Rex drone work can be as good as it was in round number 1,
there it is.
Hyper is not going to be there for too long.
Look, he didn't even see it.
Foxay does not see it. He's on cam. Smile, you're on candid camera.
He must have seen it being thrown in the prep phase, and he couldn't even see it, staring at it. That's a nice camera.
That's a nice camera. That's one for the books.
And you can bet that... so for all of you watching right now, make sure you check when you go into ranked that every time for future reference.
Still got Hyper down below. He hasn't been found out, and doesn't look like there's anybody that's willing to take that engagement. Mark was dispatched last time, but this time he's too preoccupied on shaking BC out of the tree that is above him.
It's definitely not easy. BC's done a really good job of holding on to this, but Skies just wins the fight outright. Doesn't even need the firebolt. It's a good job there. The headshot landed. Now Nyx is the support staff in here instead of, I believe it was Hot and Cold last time. He's being pressured. His ADS is expended. Grenade comes out. It will land, do some damage, but not a full kill here. Nyx persists. He's doing a good job of delaying this push into garage. Look at that. There's only 40 seconds left. Flash is coming out. Default cam dispatched. You could see that Reciprocity are still angling to take control of this garage.
Meanwhile, Hyper's gotten back up to the site, so they've called in the cavalry. He doesn't need to waste time anymore. He doesn't need to hold the map control. They've shut off construction as they know the push is going to come through garage. And Hot and Cold gets a little bit too aggressive. Foxing finds Nyx. And now it's up to Hyper and Mint. But Hyper's actually gone back down below. I don't know if Mint doesn't hear this or not. He's expecting somebody to push up. He'll shred through one. Look for two, but he can't hit the Hibana. Down below is Hyper. He'll find one. Look for another. Oh, and he gets the down, but he's all on his lonesome. Tossing up the C4. Wait for it. He looks for the last. And it's Hyper with 3 huge kills. DarkZero up 3-1. What a performance. Hits the Nitro Cell with one hand, the Deagle with the other, and he holds it all together.
Hyper's nuts. That was a beautiful round there from Hyper to secure it, and one that should have certainly gone to Reciprocity. Through and through. That was a Reciprocity round. Yeah, okay, it took them a while to get control of Garage, but once they did it spectacularly, and they did it with very little expenditure in terms of manpower. They had such an advantage after getting those Garage players. They even managed to get one of the anchors who was trying to support the Garage hold. A little bit overzealous there, and it punished DarkZero. But Hyper with the clutch. That was absolutely nuts. And I have to say, the fact that DarkZero just won on Cash, a site that they clearly are not comfortable defending, and that is hilarious considering DarkZero was the original team to make Cash a thing back before the Clubhouse rework. Anyway, considering that DarkZero are not comfortable there, they just managed to win it. This defensive half has just been won by DarkZero because now they get to go to the basement. Later they will get to go to Gym. And these are sites that they have proven to be dominant on in previous rounds. However, one caveat to that is that Reciprocity made a whoopsie when they attacked onto Gym, and I don't think that they're going to make that same mistake the second time around when they eventually get there, if they get there. That's assuming, of course, Reciprocity can't win here on the basement.
Yeah.
But that was the one really decisive round I'd say that DarkZero had, was their basement defense. So you can expect this to probably go the way of DarkZero. That'll be a 4-1. Then it could be a 4-2. It could be a 5-1 in favor of DarkZero, the way that this is shaping up.
I want to see what Retro does, because I think that's going to be where it really, I guess, all comes together. I know that we agreed on this, but
it'll be the same for DarkZero when they go into attack too.
Yeah.
What is their Hibana going to do? What is the Hibana going to open? Is the Hibana going to get picked early? It's such an important factor when that's the only hard destructor on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Now, the funny thing is that these bans, these attacker bans, Reciprocity had to have known.
Right.
Because it's DarkZero bans Thermite here.
You're not,
if
they ban Thermite and you're confused by that and you're worried, you might not necessarily be banning Maverick unless you're prepared.
Yeah, so Reciprocity knew. They were ready for it. They've prepped for it. They have to get more than one round out of the first half. If they don't, then we're looking at a draw in all likelihood. We'll see. Foxay still has both of his nades. EMPs have gone off. Possibly the ADS is cleared. Here's that. Yeah, that's going to be the one to clear out the ADS on the Moto door. And also for probably temporarily disable the cardiac sensor on Hyper.
Heartbeat sensor deployed.
Retro's not really putting himself in any imminent danger. This is a side note. You ever notice how dirty the fingers are of all the agents when they don't have their gloves on?
Yeah, it's weird.
Really unhygienic.
Especially Pulse when he's got
Dokkaebis are also really dirty. So are Rooks.
Yeah.
Looks like little sausage fingertips.
It's really.
Wash your hands.
I mean, they're in a combat zone, so I understand.
It's a simulation.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
Just like the moon landing was.
Anyway, the basis of Siege is that these are guys. They're all training.
I feel like that joke will fly over a lot of people's heads because Rek has been spending all week tweeting about how the moon landing was fake.
I didn't know that.
Which is objectively just not correct. So I wanted to just make a joke about it. Anyway.
This pixel angle here from Nyx is huge.
This is huge. 30 seconds. He sees the Thatcher, and he's going to miss, but BC will swing on out. There's one from Nyx as he takes off Mark. BC still in the corner. Retro's up. He's low on HP, and Hyper's just going to exist for the time being. Foxay wins his gunfight. These L85s have been so good so far. They'll need more from Foxay. Skies is at full HP. One drop from Hyper. He doesn't have the cardiac sensor out. He doesn't have a C4, so it's all just going to be a gun. And now the first person to die last time is going to be the last person to die this time. It's Retro as the final death, and DarkZero are punishing Reciprocity so far 4-1.
So the basement defense, we expected to go the way of DarkZero. That's standard. That makes sense with the way that these rounds have been playing out. The big question is, can they pull off Jim the way that they did last time? Well, last time it was certainly really, really one-sided. And it definitely was in favor of DarkZero. But Reciprocity were looking good on their cache server take. Now, here's the big thing, guys. Lacking 2 hard destructors means that you can really only pressure from one side of Jim. Mm-hmm. The reason that attacking Jim is seen as easier than some other sites by some people is because you can establish a pretty easy two-way push onto this bomb site. And the big thing is that the Jacuzzi guys, whoever's pushing through Jacuzzi, cannot be pressured by the defenders in any meaningful way. Sure, you can open up from Dirt Tunnel and you can get a nice line of sight onto one corner of the balcony, or you can flank running out of Strip Club. And that has often, those two things have often been the reason why a defensive team will win on Jim. However, the majority of the time, the people playing on Jacuzzi balcony are safe from interference by the defenders. Now that means that they can, just leave 1 or 2 people here on the attack and not worry too much about it while everyone else focuses on coming from cache or server or the south balcony, what have you. Basically what I'm saying is it's a really easy establish of a two-way push or a crossfire depending on where exactly the attack wants to come. Now, with only 1 hard destructor, that is made exceptionally difficult, which makes Jim a much more viable bomb site, especially if you hard reinforce and hard hold by cache. So we'll see how this plans out. There's 3x Gyros still for Retro. You were saying it, I'll say it again. Everything really depends on how Retro plays, what he opens up. And obviously what he opens up will be what his team wants him to, but still, it all depends on that.
DarkZero likely understood in some capacity that when they banned Thermite, that whether there's a Maverick ban or not, was he expecting somebody by that window? Well, Nyx is by the other window, and down goes Foxay. At least he threw one of his frag grenades. That's DZ up 1 body so far.
I think maybe the original thought process there for Fox was that he wanted to nade one window and look at the other, or maybe he wanted to open the castle barricade safe, but there was no castle barricade, so I'm not really sure.
Not entirely certain either.
Also, nades are really inconsistent on castle barricades. I don't even know if they do that anymore. They're really inconsistent.
There's 2x Karos that have now been used on the construction wall. So you can enter it on through construction towards the gym side. 1x Karos left for Retro. Where is he going to use that? Well, where did he use it previously? Didn't they only use 1 on construction last time around?
1 what? Castle barricade?
1x Karos.
Yeah, they used 1 on no, they used 2. They used 2, but only 1 detonated. I have no idea what happened to the other one. This time, both will detonate. So, okay, clearly the plan last time was to open this wall to a crouch hole, but it only came out as a prone hole for some inconceivable reason. I'm guessing that Retro just missed. That's my guess, flat out.
Yeah. Well, Skies won't. Goodbye, Nyx. You've got Mint playing tight around the corner, and if Skies looks the wrong way, well, this will be a capitalization, but he misses. Won't finish it up that time. Oh, he tosses out the smoke. Does it go off in time is the real question. Mark finds the kill, and down goes the Bandit now of Hot and Cold as Retro is there, and Skies will have no problem to be picked on back up. BC catches 1, sprays through the wall, position given away. He'll have to head back. Hyper down below. He was such a difference maker before, but this is a much more difficult situation to find yourself in. He's got the angle if he needs it. BC finds Skies traded out immediately, and it's all once again on Hyper in a 1v3. This time around, the plant is going to go down and tosses up the C4. His position will be given away. Doesn't even dent any member of Reciprocity, who just needs to hold the stairs, and it should be Retro to clean up, but Hyper wins that one. The body will absorb most of these bullets, and he'll have to find his way on back. He knows there's one, but he's not getting through the doorway, and Mark will hold that one down. Smoke blood in the water, and Mark the Shark, of course, has a good nose for it. Reciprocity will win their second round on attack, and it'll be a 4-2 scoreline as we switch sides.
4-2 is very winnable for Reciprocity. It's a comfortable space for them to find themselves in. I would say that is the expected result out of an attack half for either of these teams. So it's now on DarkZero to win 3 attacking rounds instead of 2 if they had won that defense to get the match overall. So this is definitely a taller task for DarkZero, and we are, again, very much looking down the barrel of a ban right now, or rather a draw. I don't know why I said ban. But yes, it looks like a draw, the way that this is shaping up. A 4-2 with these operator bans on this map, DarkZero now are the ones who are going to have to struggle, and it's going to come down to where they place their Arxeros. The play there for Reciprocity worked out really well. I was super curious about why it was the construction wall. That was what was running through my head there. And it's really interesting to me that the wall got opened a second time. DarkZero knew it would be opened because it was last time, and yet they failed to adapt for it. Skies just rushed in. And clearly the strategy there for Reciprocity was they thought that was a weak point in the defense. And yeah, they were right. Absolutely. Because if you take control of Workshop, you cut off any roamers or buy cash. You can also pressure easily into Office, and that will give you enough control to take control of site, because that's a different crossfire by itself. Again, that's Workshop and Office into the master site. There's your crossfire. You've got it. You don't need as much hard destruction. I love the strategy there for Reciprocity. I think that's really clever. I'm just amazed that DarkZero didn't adapt to it. That's what blows my mind. Okay, so interesting thing here. Less hard destruction? Let's bring a Montaigne. He's not banned. He was last match. Here he's not. That means that you can kind of circumvent the lack of being able to open up hard walls by going in through those bottlenecks with, well, something protecting you. It's an interesting workaround for DZ. It's more direct than what we were seeing from Reciprocity. Reciprocity, we're just trying to strat around it. DarkZero are going to bring a tool to kind of fix it, I guess. We'll see if it's enough.
I like that pass that we saw as well, being opened up in the floor. They'd open up the bunch of the floor and then put up one of the little pests in the floorboards over by...
Neat.
Yeah. Over by the top of main stairs, over by kitchen.
That could actually really work pretty well.
They hacked a drone, so it's very likely they could have gotten it. Oh, this is a shot from Nyx here on the Retro.
Doesn't even need the fireball. He's just going to go for straight shots to the foot.
Tap, tap, tap.
That's some really bad positioning there from Retro, and it costs his team. Luckily, he's Jaeger. He's placed his ADSs, but also, unluckily, he's Jaeger. He's one of the most powerful fraggers on the defense, and he's gone.
He's got the best gun on defense now, too, if you look at this lineup.
Yeah, the Alda not being brought out here, so no competition, really.
With that, have also you likely just taken blue control, unless somebody's gone over in that direction. I mean, I guess you got the Mozzie of Laxing. He's got a pretty good gun.
Yeah. Both of his guns are good, but I'd say the carbine wins out because the magazine and the overall... Well, that's a debate for another time, I suppose, but...
1 minute in, you've got a Monty now. You can hear the shield clunking away at the door. They'll try to bait out some of the smokes and maybe some utility. He sees the Kaid, and, well, we've seen Mint clutch before on the Blitz. He'll get pushed up on in two separate angles. Foxy shreds through BC, unsure where the Thatcher was playing. This is going to be tough, and will likely... A drone will stop the advance of the Zofia down blue. So a stalemate for the time being, and a bit of a pause here.
Reciprocity, if they have gas canisters still, this could be their advantage, though, with the time. Look at that, 30 seconds left. That's 2 gas canisters that I know of that have been expended. It's a really good efficiency from Foxa. You got to hand it to him.
It's going to be tough for Mint to get through, but he'll trudge on in, and there we go. He'll get hit with an impact grenade instead. He's still got 75 HP, so he can continue to press forward. But now you've got a cross being established from Hyper. Try to draw them out as best as you can. Nobody's been dropped from DZ for the time being. Hyper's position has been spotted. Down goes Skies looking for another. There you go. Oh, it's a flurry with Mint, Hyper, and Nyx all getting in on the action. And 5-2 for DarkZero as they win their very first attack with just solely the Habana. Just as Rec did.
That is absolutely massive for DZ. The fact that they managed to win a basement attack. Now, Reciprocity have to rethink everything. Remember here, the goal for DZ is to win 3 attacking rounds, and that will get them the win. If they win 2, it'll be a draw, because it'll be the same that we saw out of Reciprocity. Winning 1 on the basement, now that means either A, Reciprocity are not as comfortable in the basement as DarkZero were, which is entirely possible, and that isn't their best site. However, that doesn't seem likely given that Reciprocity went to the basement first, and now they're going to the basement again. Or B, Reciprocity aren't going to be very comfortable in defensive Clubhouse at all. And this is going to be a sweep for DZ from here on out. So basically what I'm saying right now, if you're Rec or one of their fans, things are looking a little bit dire. Because that basement, or the basement hold, should just be your hold. And I think that Montaigne really did trip up Reciprocity. He did cause a lot of problems. The push straight in through Moto was focused upon by Reciprocity and called attention away from Blue, which allowed Nyx to entry into Armory. Because he won the fight with the player who was holding Deep Armory on the northeast corner, he could then wide swing and take any fight he wanted in the Shells by Armory, in the main hallway, in Church, along with the other players in Blue. They're all just focused on Church now. So that was, well, I mean, it was a big round for Nyx. It was a big round for the Montaigne as well. And interestingly, DarkZero, I'm not bringing a Montaigne this time. It was a little bit different. They're going to bring a Ying.
Man, Ying has not been played in North America yet. So there you go. First time.
Yeah. She finds herself on the board, so to
And
speak.
of course it's DarkZero who brings her, right?
They do really bring out the new stuff a lot, yeah.
Studying at the Church of the Macy J video recently.
Oh yeah, Macy J is a strong advocate of the new...
That was a great Ying video, I will give him that.
I haven't watched it, but I have talked to him about it, and he's definitely a hard advocate for Ying's viability, and he wants to see it used in Pro League, so here we go.
We talked about this before the show when we were looking at the operator, the pick and ban rates prior to us going live, and we just said very straightforwardly, it's not so much Ying's decent nerf, it's more just that her role is filled by other operators, and Capitao is the best one for that right now.
Yeah, Capitao is more of a certainty. You know that no one can be where you place that bolt. It just, they can't be there. And Ying is kind of, you're uncertain. You don't know if it's going to get caught by an ADS. You don't know if the player there will actually truly be flashed, because flashes can be inconsistent in this game, or seemingly inconsistent. That's I don't think anyone's actually proven any true inconsistencies yet, but you know what I'm getting at. So it's definitely a gamble. Nyx is trying to clear out the ADSs there. There are 2 placed in Blue to support Retro's hold. He does have the ability to bypass the ADSs with the bolts, but Ying does not. So if they want to take this with Ying, they're going to need to get some more utility down there to clear out that last ADS, because it still has 1 charge on it, I believe, unless someone else has been contributing to its clear.
You got lots of utility available as well. You're fully stocked on the Capitao, you're fully stocked on the Ying, you've got Hyper, I think he's down by 1. So Rec just need to wait for the time being, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Retro hasn't given anything up. He hasn't peeked out even more aggressively than he did before, though Nyx is positioned to get him if he does. He can use those asphyxiating bolts effectively, which he didn't need to use last time to try and take out the Jaeger. Nyx will just sit and wait for the time being.
So it is going to be the Ying, it looks like, to deal with Retro. It's dangerous. I mean, they've rotated him over, but the ADS, again, I don't think all of them are fully cleared. He's also got the diffuser in hand. This could have been a bolt and job done a while ago. And there's the bolt. Okay, so job done. C4 comes out to counter it. It's placed on the floor. Candelas as well to double down. They have to shoot the C4, and it will get one of the Candelas. That's actually huge, as now Laxing is able to take the fight to Mint and win it. There goes your Ying. Retro also contributes, but Hyper gets the refrag. As he's pushing in, it's going to be from Dirt Tunnel that Hodden contributes, and it's a plant from Hyper. This is a beautiful pinch from DZ. Just 1 alive, and it's Mark. Can he deny the plant? It doesn't seem likely, and it'll be Hodden to win it out. 3 for him on the entry. A beautiful push in through Dirt Tunnel, despite having such little hard destruction, and what a beautiful execution overall from DarkZero.
It was all Hyper, wasn't it? Hyper dropped, and what does he do? Well, he's there to confront everybody. You didn't expect 3 bodies to go through Blue. 3 bodies, the Zofia, the Ying, as well as the Capitao, and 2 of them proving to be meat shields for the Zofia. And Reciprocity stacked up so well towards the back of Arsenal. They stacked up perfectly. They watched Blue. They knew that's where it was going to come from. And then what happens? Well, they get 2 bodies. They don't expect the 3rd. Hyper clears everybody out. Hot and Cold swings in from what appeared to be Dirt Tunnel, and then he had the cross held.
Yeah, that was the that was the really crazy thing. Dirt Tunnel. So I believe they must have opened Moto Drop, Dirt Tunnel, and Blue Drop. But again, that is such sparse, hard destruction to make that work. And I'm truly impressed that DarkZero worked a Dirt Tunnel take into their strategy, lacking 2 of the 3 available hard destructors. That's, well, not available. I guess 2 of them are banned is the point I'm trying to get at. That's really impressive for DZ. A nice strategy there. Perfectly timed push. It would have, the crazy thing is that it would have been better if the Candelas had not been destroyed by the C4. That's the crazy thing. And good recovery for DarkZero. Like you said, it was really Hyper who took the place of the Ying and managed to recover that one for his team, as well as the Habana, I believe, Hot and Cold, who came in and got 3 from Dirt Tunnel. He was the one in a position to get those kills. That was his job, but still, again, just really impressive the way that DZ put that round together. Now, that means we have match point, 6-2, favor DZ. And now Reciprocity they're gonna stop kidding themselves. They're not going to the basement anymore.
DZ are perfect on attack, and Rec have not won yet on defense, and you have to have that break. Not once, not twice, but 4 times in order for this to end up being a draw between these teams. Statistically unlikely.
Yeah.
With the way this map plays out, very unlikely. And I think that the bans right now, even though Rec, I assume, did the bans to try and take advantage of it, they're losing at their own operator bans.
Yeah, it does seem like DZ were more than ready for this. One thing to note is, yes, okay, Habana can only open up small holes, but she can open up 3. Where Thermite is the ban that comes out from DZ, which they ban Thermite on Clubhouse. That's what they do. They're planned in practice for this. Banning out the Maverick, he can open up a whole lot more than Habana overall, technically. However, it's slower, and DZ seems to be perfectly capable of using the pace of the Habana, using the amount she can open up to facilitate all of their strategies. They're just making this work. They've taken control of cash now. They didn't even need any hard destruction for this. They did open up the construction wall, which, oh, that's a nice angle being used from Laxing, but it's actually not going to work. What a tight one, and Foxe is assisting it, making the call for his teammate. I love the way that Reciprocity are playing that angle. It hasn't worked out yet, though. Anyway, the hard destruction efficiency from DarkZero is tremendous. On Jim, they've already gotten the control they needed with minimal use of that hard destruction. Again, construction wall open itself, but not much else.
Keep pushing them back, just keep it going, and oh! Mark is now gone as Mint pushes all the way up. You've got tools to take out this Clash, who might push backwards into the Monty. All right, there you go. Trying to do as much damage as possible. Foxy doesn't lose a single tick of HP until he gets lit up by Hot and Cold. It's going to be challenging for Mint to get through here, but he's going to be able to see everything and continue to call it out. Does Nyx have any firebolts left? That's the real question. He's just in Gym, and he's going for broke, trying to take out the Clash from behind, but every team is just going to be losing something now. Laxing and Nyx fall. BC comes to the rescue. Toxic Canister is going to hit Mint directly on, and down goes Hyper to Skies. Oh, beautiful shot from Skies!
Oh,
and 3 for Skies! How is he pulling this off? It's all up to Hot and Cold to try to clutch. This is going to be a real challenge. Waiting to see if he's going to get peeked, and it's Skies all the way down. What a performance from Skies. And Rec will take the round.
I was about to start talking about how Reciprocity reinforced the office wall, which works against them because the Montaigne's there and he can brute force his way through the bottleneck that is that workshop door. I was about to start going about how that's, Reciprocity not working around their utility properly, and that's why DarkZero won this round and won this match. That was what I was prepping for, but Skies just absolutely demolishes DarkZero and recovers the match. Beautifully done from him, and now Reciprocity are still in it. So yes, I would like to point out one thing. The office wall was hard reinforced, and you have to imagine the reason that Reciprocity does that is because they don't want to deal with office pressure. Because there's less hard destructors on the board, they can just reinforce the wall, and okay, no problem. They're not going to open it up. They can't. They don't have the efficiency for it. What? Cool. Good strat there from Reciprocity. But the problem is, the Montaigne is being brought from DarkZero, and the Montaigne can push his way through the workshop wall. Doesn't need to open up the office wall. Doesn't need to do any of that stuff. He can just brute force his way. And what that means is the brute force doesn't have a flank anymore. The office wall isn't reinforced. The defenders can't get through it. They cannot apply pressure to the presence in Workshop from the attack. And that presence from Workshop can, yes, take the site. However, despite that, Reciprocity, thanks to Skies' efforts, still wins. And now they get to go to cash. We'll see how they defend this one.
5 seconds to insert.
This will be a real test of Rec here, who need to right the ship desperately to try to fight for a draw. This is require almost a Herculean effort. It follows a very similar script to what we saw in the TSM SQ matchup. The Sonics ultimately falling short despite mounting a pretty respectable comeback.
Relaxing on a very deep roam. Basement. We've seen this before on Cash, actually quite a lot, because C4 is so relevant here. The default plant spot is hard to deny from the north side of the B-bomb site. It is easy to deny from below. 1 C4, that's all it takes. The Pest will hack a drone, and Hyper, will he get it? I think he did. Hard to tell. It looked like he managed to snag that one in time before Laxing can move it.
We'll probably take construction, I would imagine, at some point, and then wrestle with the rest of Garage.
Probable. I mean, they've got the Montaigne, so they can take either one. It looks like it's going to be Garage first, as you can see Mint setting up for that take right now. He's going to be droning for himself before he actually commits to that.
It's interesting that the X-Karos just didn't go off in that corner.
Does that happen sometimes? It's really weird. It's also interesting that the X-Karos was placed middle of the wall instead of low on the wall so that they can cut off the rotation from Rappel. That's different. I think they were going for maybe a vault hole. It's different than what we saw from Reciprocity when Retro was opening the wall.
That's really tough.
Garage control still not in hand here for DZ, and, well, the Montaigne is pushing up. He's going to force the Jaeger back. It's just taking a time, and there's the down, and it was actually from the little hole that was made in the wall. Oh, another one for Mint as he downs the Clash. Beautiful job there. Hyper will finish him off.
Use your utility as best as you can. There's a body down below as well. Can't tell from the silhouette who that is. Oh, it's the Mozzie of Laxing, who's just playing underneath.
That shield on the Garage actually can't be vaulted over, because if the Montaigne does, he'll die to the player playing the angle from Cash, who just downed Nyx.
It's very, very smart.
Yeah.
Smoke goes out and it pushes Mint back, so we'll have to get somebody up here. I don't know if Hyper will be able to reach it. He might have an explosive blast still left, and he could take the shield out. That will be required.
The going for the recovery here is going to cost DarkZero 20 seconds, but they have such a strong man advantage, it might not matter.
Nyx has been picked back up as there's 3 bodies with Hot and Cold dropping back down below. All of his X-Karos have been used. He'll head on over to construction. There you go.
Wow.
It just vaults right on over. I don't think this is quite what they were expecting. Takes a tick of damage from the toxic canister, and, well, he's going to have to be very wary of where he goes. Retro finds Hot and Cold, and if the plant goes down, you could have the Bandit possibly be locked out. But Mint is backing up. This is falling apart now for DZ. They had perfect control. Laxing and Retro left. If Retro can push on out, he could be a big difference maker here, but he gets shut down, and it's Laxing in a contest with Hyper, and that'll be it. They'll muster 1 win on defense, but Rec ultimately falling short, despite some pretty clever bans. And through the first half, no matter what happens for the rest of the day, DarkZero will finish atop the North American standings through 7 playdays.
Good strategy, good execution, excellent patience, especially on the side of DarkZero, manages to get them the win in a situation where the attacking team has -2 on the hard destructor out of 3 on Clubhouse, no less. A lot of contribution coming from every single player on DZ. So really good job to them. Actually, 4 players within 1 kill of each other. 3 with 10 kills.
3 broke double digits. Hot and Cold 1 kill away from double digits as well.
Impressive. He was on 9, so like it was a good team effort from DarkZero. Excellent strategy. The way that they executed onto that basement, especially, they had 2 different strategies that were pre-planned with only having Habana in mind. And that's, you just don't see that very often.
No. And we'll get to ask DarkZero if they were preparing for just a Thermite ban, what they thought the ban was going to come out, did they expect it to be a Maverick, etc. And then moving forward. But, you know, Rec, you said, won this matchup against EG, and then they fall short against DZ.
And LG, I think. It was LG.
That I believe they beat, or they lost.
No, they lost to LG.
Yeah.
It was 7-4 for Luminosity when they were on their tear.
Now, Rec will sit at 13 points for the rest of the day, and both EG and Luminosity are at 10 points. They don't play each other, so if both of those teams win today, you'll have DarkZero finishing with 16 points, and then a 3-way tie for second with 13 points. That would be really something to watch. And then also worth noting that SSG is not too far behind. They play EG, so if EG wins, and SSG will continue to trail, but if SSG wins, then it'll become 13 and 12. There's not a lot of room between these top 5 teams in NA right now at all.
Yeah, there isn't. And one thing I would like to note is that the way that the bans played out actually really hurt Reciprocity. So they knew that the Thermite ban would come, so they tried to ban Maverick, But the Montaigne being in play is also another one of those operators that Reciprocity doesn't like to play on Clubhouse. They typically ban him there. So that's really unfortunate for Reciprocity, but good job to DZ adapting to the Maverick ban.
Now we have an interview ready with Nick, so we'll bring it up and we'll talk to him about that matchup against Team Reciprocity. Hello, Nix. Congratulations on your victory today.
Thanks, Sintero.
Now, first question. Were you expecting them to ban Maverick?
So with Reciprocity, their bans are sometimes all over the place. So we knew that they banned Maverick in the past. So we knew it was a possibility. We weren't really sure because going into the match, obviously we knew we were going to ban Thermite. So we didn't know if they were going to, do that to themselves since they were starting attack. But we had an idea that they might, yeah.
So you prepared for the Thermite ban, obviously. How much did your strategy change up? Obviously, don't give away all of your secrets. How much did your strategy change up if they had have banned a Maverick versus if they had banned something else? And if they hadn't banned Maverick, were you expecting maybe a Monty ban? What else were you expecting them to possibly ban on attack if not Maverick?
Yeah, so the Montaigne ban was a really obvious one because Reciprocity has shown in the past to not like Montaigne, and obviously we have Mint who's really, really, really good on shields. So we talked about that, but our plan was, just going into it, if they did ban the Maverick, we were going to just kind of abuse the Montaigne or abuse meta ops. We even pulled out a Ying one round, and I think the attacks worked pretty well. So,
what was the idea with the Ying? Because I don't think we really got to see exactly what you were expecting out of the Ying in blue. Was it hot drop, paralyze the back of Arsenal? What was the point?
So with the Ying, we were basically going for an armory take, and we thought that if we could clear all their ADSs, we could stun all of the guys in the back and make them kind of jump down and get some kills, and maybe go for a plant because they seem to play more towards the church side of the map rather than playing towards armory. So that round was definitely chaotic for sure.
It was. You had 3 bodies that dropped blue, and it was Hyper who ended up being the king of the hill at the end of it all. Now, You've spent 7 play days with Hyper adjusting to this team. What's the one thing, and I just want one thing, that's it, that you're going to focus on between now and Raleigh that you've assessed is the biggest area of improvement for your team?
I would definitely say communication and how we deal with calls, how we react to calls, and the certain things that we call out. I think that's a big area of improvement for us.
Well, you've shared a couple times your team comms on your team's Twitter, and they've been very interesting to watch. So I'm sure we'll probably get another, especially after Hyper's big 3K clutch in Lounge. Anything to say to the fans, etc., before the end of the interview?
I just want to say thank you to all the DarkZero supporters. We've been putting a lot of work in as a team, and we're really happy with our current success for first place NA to finish the first half, and we're just going to keep all this energy and hopefully have a strong performance at Rally.
And no matter what happens, you will finish first in North America through these 7 play days. Congratulations, and we'll see you in a couple weeks in Raleigh.
Thanks, Sintero.
Thanks. Did you wave to the nice people?
There's somebody waving in the background of the webcam.
Oh.